Hey y'all, welcome to Growth Rising. I'm Bird, and on this channel I just talk a lot about things dealing with astrology and the planets, the signs, all things astrology. Today I'm going to be talking about the first house in astrology because all together, if you ever looked at your birth charts or anyone else's, you know that it's a circle and it has 12 houses. Each house represents something different. And in the natural um, birth chart, well, not birth chart, but in the natural wheel or the, I don't want to say basic, because there are some people who have these, the original birth chart, but there's, I don't even know what I was saying now, but there's 12 houses all in a circle because it's a 360-degree circle divided by 12, and But anyway, so let's go ahead and get into the first house. The first house, it represents, birth and early life. It's the house of self, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard. The first house is the house of self. The first house that actually starts, with the ascendant. If you use the Placidus system, well, most of the time whenever you generate your birth chart is going to automatically just default in the Placidus, and it'll start with your ascendant sign, whatever degree in the sign that you're at, whether you're at 5 degrees close to the top of the sign or at 20 degrees close to the bottom. That's going to be the start of your first house. Now if you use whole sign, it will just have that entire sign that's on the outer rim. It's going to have that whole entire sign in that first house. Either way, that's your first house. And the ascendant is always in the first house, whether it's starting it or just in it. It's going to be in that first house because that's how each house is basically determined in your birth chart. And the first house is ruled by Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So Aries and Mars, they're those go-getters. They're passionate. They initiate things. And so whatever sign that you have on your first house, that's kind of how you initiate things. That's how you go after things. And also it will also be affected by the planets that are in your first house as well. Um, the first house is also how others see you when they first meet you. That's why if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm pretty sure you've probably heard me say that whenever someone first meets you, they may not see your sun sign. They may not, like if your sun sign is, I don't know, Leo, and your rising sign is Cancer, they may see a lot of Cancer in you when they first meet you instead of Leo. They'll probably think, wow, this person right here does not act like a Leo. Not saying that Leos are bad people. No, we're not saying that. But they just probably wouldn't pick up on that because they'll probably automatically think Cancer. But in real life, I know everybody doesn't always meet someone and think, oh, do I know their zodiac sign? Some people do. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure we all know somebody who does. Um, but yeah, so that's how people see you when they first meet you. Um, the first house also rule your early childhood experiences. So, however, like different things that you may experience in your childhood, because really, the whole entire chart is your life, and it just goes around in a circle because it's like the circle of life. The Lion King is pretty much like that. Oh, and the first house also, it's the house of your natural abilities. Um, stuff that comes to you naturally, basically. Stuff that you may just naturally be good at. It doesn't take you a long time to get adjusted to something that just comes like second nature for you. Oh, and the first house also rule your physical appearances. And so, I remember I was reading somebody's chart before, and they had Jupiter in their first house. And we know that Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So, um, I was reading the chart for a friend because the person wanted their chart to be read. So I had never seen the person, but I did say I'm guessing that this person is either tall or, kind of heavy set because Jupiter is right there in their first house. And lo and behold, the person was kind of heavy set. And, that's not always a bad thing. I know here in America, people are always just like, oh yeah, lose weight, be thin, be fit, yada yada yada. Not saying don't do that, but like this person who had Jupiter in their first house, if you also have Jupiter in your first house, give yourself some grace. I know that, if Capricorn is the ruler of your first house, you may have a more tendency to be lean or muscular or, fit or straight, not really as big. But if you have, a Sagittarius rising or Jupiter in your first house, give yourself some grace because that's just not saying that everybody who has Jupiter in their first house is going to be, like overweight or anything, because it could just be something like, oh, if you're a female, you could have like big breasts or big hips, or you could be very tall, or you could have like big lips or big eyes. It's going to be something on you that's going to show about Jupiter being in your first house. Like also with Neptune, which I think, well, in my opinion, I'm just like, not my opinion, but actually Neptune is like, full of illusions and dreamy. And so if you have Neptune in your first house or a Pisces rising, you may have some like dreamy eyes or a dreamy smile or what, something like that, because it's right there in your first house. So people may be able to literally see the stuff within your first house on you. Like, we can also say, excuse me, we could also say like even Pluto. If you have Pluto in your first house, or if you're a Scorpio rising, people may find you mysterious. Like you might have a beauty about you that is just so deep or mysterious. You can have that kind of little, can't find a word I'm looking for, but that little about you if you have the Pluto or the Scorpio rising. That's just a couple of examples how people can literally see your first house on you. And the first house is the I am house. You might have seen the reel that I posted, I don't know, a week ago or maybe a couple of days ago. And Aries is motto is that I am. Like, I am strong, I am brave, I am smart, I am rich, I am whatever. That's the first house, because the first house is the one that likes to initiate things. It's not going to wait for something to happen. And getting back to where we're at, because y'all know sometimes my Gemini will show and I will run all over the place. But yeah, so the first house is basically the house of self. When somebody first meets you, they can see it on you, and they can also see it in your personality. And whenever somebody gets to that deeper understanding to you, if y'all become like close friends or whatever else, they will get to know more of, your houses. But we will get to that later on. And I would do all of the houses in one video, but I don't want for, that one video to be too long. So I'm probably going to do it kind of like how I did the retrogrades, and just go house by house in each video, because there's several things to say about each house, each and every one of them. And so hopefully y'all will join me for the ride as we go over all 12 houses. Right now, we're just going over the first one, and I will see y'all next time to go over the second house. And I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.